What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fann of showmefootball.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. He's Michael D'Arcy of KC Sports Report, and we've got to talk about Omarr Norman-Lott. We'll get into what exactly that is right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into another video on my channel. Tonight, I'm joined by my good friend, Michael D'Arcy, and we're going to talk about Kansas City Chiefs rookie defensive tackle Omarr Norman-Lott, who we got to see some glimpses of in the first preseason game against the Arizona Cardinals. And this is a player, Michael, that I think, his first preseason performance was one that drew a lot of mixed reviews. One of those players that you were expecting to see a lot more out of, especially considering the coaches have really talked him up. I mean, there was a huge hype train for him this training camp, and he was running with the wands a lot and all that stuff. And I think a lot of us expect him to play a lot as a rookie, but he wasn't very effective last night. And I want to pull up this tweet from Matt Lane. I would love to show you guys the clips, but don't want to get copyrighted or anything like that. So I'll just put up Matt Lane's tweet to kind of summarize what the concern is. But he points out some of Omarr Norman-Lott's run snaps. Clearly, there is a push to move to a more nose tackle, three-down type of role rather than keeping him as a situational pass rusher. Because the thing is, if you guys actually go to the tweet and look at some of the clips, the Chiefs pretty much lined Omarr Norman-Lott up as a nose tackle and told him to go stop the run, and he didn't look very good trying to stop the run. And this is a guy, Michael, that didn't play a lot of snaps in college, was out there to be a situational pass rusher. The Chiefs drafted a situational pass rusher, and it already seems like they're trying to turn him into something that he's not, trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, and it officially has me concerned. So my question for you, Michael, is, are the Kansas City Chiefs already misusing Omarr Norman-Lott?
They might be. I wonder if part of the, lack of performance from Lott is due to that ankle injury that he suffered at training camp. But at the same time, this is not really good, especially if the Chiefs are trying to turn him into a three-down, defensive tackle and someone that can stop the run. He was never good at that. That's not why you drafted him. You drafted him, what we all thought, was to get to the quarterback. And I just don't understand taking that strength away from him. And maybe we're wrong. Maybe the Chiefs are just trying to see if he could play different roles in the preseason, because Josh, they could put us out there in the preseason. It doesn't really matter. But at the same time, you can't, just play this guy and ask him to put on a ton of weight and just hope that it works out when, we can't just keep throwing away second-round draft picks. And I'm not saying that he's the throwaway draft pick.
Yeah.
Because I actually thought that, he was someone that was going to start right away. And, in the first couple of days of training camp, looked good. And then it's just kind of like the hype train has just gone completely down since then.
Yeah, I mean, look, if the Chiefs wanted a run-stuffing defensive tackle, that's what they should have drafted. They should have picked up a guy like C.J. West out of Indiana, or one of those types of defensive tackle prospects. You brought in a guy that had the highest pass rush win rate in college football, situational pass rusher, someone you put out there on third down and say, get after it. And you're trying to make him put on weight and become a nose tackle. And that just seems to be setting him up for failure. And this almost kind of goes back to something that I was trying to say last season when the Chiefs acquired Joshua Uche at the trade deadline, and they didn't really use him. It almost seems like there's a disconnect sometimes between Brett Veach and the coaching staff. Brett Veach has a vision for the defense. He brings in a guy that he thinks, fits what he wants to do. And then Spags has a completely different plan for them, or a completely different vision for the defense. And it's like, what is going on? Because we're burning a lot of draft picks on the defensive line at this point for guys that Steve Spagnuolo either just doesn't use or uses in the completely wrong way. This is not a nose tackle. You have Mike Pennell for that. You could bring someone else in for that if you feel like that's what you need. I mean, this is a position where I feel like I've said before, the Chiefs, it wouldn't hurt to add someone there, maybe like Christian Wilkins, who got released from the Raiders. Now, I mean, I know there's concern about when he'll actually be healthy enough to play, all that stuff. that's a different conversation. But
there's also some things behind the scenes with that one as well.
Right.
We might have to kiss that one goodbye.
Yeah, I see the play on words there. But,
yeah.
I mean, the main point, though, is you're trying to make this guy do something completely different than what his draft profile said he was able to do. And you're just setting him up for failure if you're trying to. It's a stupid plan, honestly. I'll just say it point blank.
Yeah, because it's also going to make him struggle earlier. Because if the Chiefs brought him in and said, hey, kid, we want you to get to the quarterback. We think that you can give us, 2 or 3 sacks your rookie season. That would be welcome. That would be welcome with open arms to have another defensive tackle alongside Chris Jones actually be able to force pressure. And it almost seems like the Chiefs want to make him Derek Nottie. And guess what? Derek Nottie, I loved him. He was great, good at his job to a certain extent. Never anyone that was a threat to get to the quarterback. And if you wanted a guy that could just solely stop the run, you could have got that guy in the 4th or 5th round.
Or you could just re-sign Derek Nottie if that's what you really wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. I guess the other possibility is that the Chiefs are they already know what he can do as a pass rusher, and now they're saying, hey, let's just put him out there in this situation and see what he can give us, if he can do that. And we'll try to refine some of his run-stopping ability. But if this is a signal of a position change per se or something bigger, then again, I'm going to be a little bit concerned about what the plan was here.
Which I will say, the preseason we cannot take super seriously because guys are just out there trying stuff. And, you're refining your technique. You're playing in different spots. Guys play, if you think, this guy needs a little bit more of a look. I think it would be a lot more telling if Omarr Norman-Lott was playing deep into the 4th quarter. If that was the case, I'd be like, what is going on? Hopefully the Chiefs are doing that where they're just we think he can be very solid at getting to the quarterback. We just want to see what he could do in this situation. But if not, I'm just so confused because you brought back Mike Pennell. He can do that job better, and it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Time will tell, though. We'll see what happens. I think you bring up a good point about the fact this wasn't him playing late into the 3rd or 4th quarter or anything like that. And obviously he's not in danger of, getting cut or anything like that. But definitely want to hear from you guys down in the comments below. Your thoughts on what the Chiefs did with Omarr Norman-Lott in the first preseason game, if this is a cause for concern or if they're just trying some things out. A little bit of a shorter video, but definitely wanted to talk about this and hit on this topic. But with all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. Make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com. And then lastly, you can follow me on Twitter at showmefb. Before we sign off, Michael, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on YouTube at KC Sports Report, and that's about it.
There you guys have it, and that'll all be in the description down below. That's all we got for this one. We'll see you all in the next one, and as always, go Chiefs.